Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have an Alexander Volkanovski fighter showcase in the lightweight division. Of course he is currently the featherweight champion, just beat Brian Ortega in his last fight in a phenomenal fight. I think round 3 of that fight in particular has to be the round of the year. How he got out of I think it was the mounted guillotine and then the triangle was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Definitely won a lot of fans with that one, especially after the second fight with Max Holloway is a bit up in the air, as in who should have won that fight. I do believe that Max Holloway should have won it, but they will probably have the trilogy fight and that will settle that chapter for sure. But one thing with Volkanovski, of course, is that he is extremely big, especially for the featherweight division. Not in terms of height, but you can tell in terms of like muscle mass and how much he weighs that he is incredibly heavy. Of course, he used to fight a welterweight, which is something that you've got to remember. So a move to lightweight is in the cards. It probably will happen soon. I believe if he beats Max and then maybe 1 or 2 more contenders in the featherweight division, he will go up to lightweight and challenge for the belt. Of course, in the game he is in the lightweight division, so I thought why not use him and see how good he is at lightweight. Is he a viable contender competing with some of the top fighters like Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, Justin Gaethje? You've obviously still got Khabib on the game, Conor McGregor's, El Kakui, RDA. It's just a stacked division. And the one thing I did notice with whilst using him at lightweight is that his health stats, his cardio, all of that still feels insane. His cardio is very good. No matter how much you throw, he's always going to keep a good level of cardio. The only thing I did notice was that his punch power, especially compared to some of the other fighters in this division, it just doesn't seem to be there. Of course, I've selected these 2 gameplays here, but I had a lot of other games with him, but I've just opted to pick these 2. But his punch power just wasn't the greatest, to be honest with you. That's the only area I felt he was really lacking. And of course, the one danger is that Volkanovski's lead leg kicks are one of his primary tools, one of the best leg kicks in his arsenal. But because of his switch stance, he's only 80 at lightweight. He didn't get that buff like in featherweight, of course. That's something you've got to watch out for, because there's a lot of good leg kickers in this division. Of course, you've got Edson Barboza, got Rafael Dos Anjos, and then you've got Justin Gaethje, you've got Dustin Poirier. So if they start to target your legs, it's going to be real hard once you have to switch stance, because you're not going to be as comfortable fighting out the other stance. So that's one thing to remember. Obviously, right now we are coming up against a Tony Ferguson player, and you know what happens when you come up against an El Kakui player. They're just going to look to spam knees and the elbows and just do crazy combinations, and it's something that I'm going to have to deal with throughout this fight. One thing to note, of course, it's a 5-round fight, so I'm trying to keep stamina high, and obviously what he's trying to do is just break down my block over and over with those elbows and look to capitalise. Of course, he went for a takedown attempt, which we denied, and then we got a takedown of our own. Got into the sprawl position, and I sort of just sat back. Wasn't really trying too much because I didn't want to get reversed, and I waited for the referee to stand us up. The only reason I waited was to build up some control time. But yeah, nonetheless, the ref stood us up, and we're back into the fight. And as you can see, my opponent's just constantly going for that combination. He's really looking to break down my block and catch me with it. He's already caught me once in the round, and he's caught me again. So this is the danger when fighting a Tony Ferguson player. And this is the exact reason I chose to upload this gameplay, was so you can see how I deal with it throughout the fight. And of course, Volkanovski is not going to be the tallest fighter in this division. He's not the tallest at featherweight. There's a lot of other fighters that are a lot taller, with especially the bigger reach advantage. And coming into a division that's slightly heavier, you're going to have slightly taller opponents, and it's quite a hard task. So you really need to close the distance, really look to utilise your leg kicks. And we're coming up against Tony Ferguson. We know that his leg health isn't the best, so it is something I'm trying to target. Again, I've got to be very careful because the switch stance isn't the best, and I don't want my leg to get busted from him keep checking them. There's always the option of going to the ground, but against Tony Ferguson with slick submissions and the rubber guard, it's something that if I am going to engage in, I've got to be very careful when I choose to approach and how I choose to approach the takedown. But right now, as you can see, my footwork's working quite well. We're avoiding some of the bigger strikes, and again, it's just very repetitive what he's throwing. But if I don't time it right and I try to slip and I get caught, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. And right now, he's just whittling away at my block. But I've noticed, especially in this round, he's not being as aggressive. My opponent seems to be trying to preserve some stamina, maybe after using a bit too much in round 1. Keeps faking that Yair Rodriguez elbow, but like I said, just being patient. As you can see, attack the leg again there. I'll work the lead leg kick and then switch straight away. And I'm just trying to keep my combinations short and sweet. Obviously I do need to get on the inside because Tony is the taller fighter, but I'm just waiting. As you can see, good movement there to get away, and my opponent's missing a lot of strikes now. We throw that knee, just attacks that stamina a bit. But yeah, so far so good. Had a very good round here, mixing it up, going to the body quite well, and this is exactly what you want to do. I'm trying to gas Tony here. He has really good endurance, and obviously it's a 5-round fight, so if I can work that body and really just start to tax him, then in the later rounds it should be a little easier to finish my opponent. But the head movement and the footwork, he's holding up quite well here, doing quite a good job of getting away out of these punches. As you see, head movement, starting to really feel it now. Good front kick there, then work the leg again. And this is where you've just got to be patient against these sort of fighters. You did see earlier in the round that he did go for a takedown, like he did in round 1 as well, but which we denied. This time we used distance management really well, and he just couldn't grab onto me. And this is exactly what you want, because now I'm trying to force him into these takedowns. He's obviously not comfortable on the feet. I'm assuming that his stamina's not in a great position, and neither is his leg health. But as you can see, just whittling away. I've got the distance managed now. I sort of know the range I can throw the kicks at, so when I'm stepping back, when I can, I'll throw a kick. And it's important not to miss those strikes, because if you miss and he capitalises because he's got the longer reach, he could do some real damage. And not only that, if you miss, of course, it's going to tax your stamina. So again, it's not ideal. And when I am on the ground with Tony Ferguson, I'm not too worried off my back. Obviously Volkanovski is extremely good on the ground, but I am up against a specialist, and if he wraps him up in a submission, it could be game over. So it is something I'm being cautious about. And coming into round 3, you can see my stamina's in a good position. I'm starting to work the leg again straight away, and you can see the redness building up on my opponent's lead leg as I targeted there again. And there you go. There's the first leg health event, and then we sneak in that uppercut. And then you can see I automatically disengage, wait for my opponent to miss the strikes. And again, he's just wasting his own stamina here. I'm being very cautious, and now I'm going to start to work the other leg, because once both those legs are gone, my opponent's not going to be able to do much. He's probably going to have to force the fight onto the ground. And as you can see, he's going for the takedown there. Nice front kick from my opponent, and he's pressured me there against the fence, and he's caught me with the uppercut, even though I dodged the first one. And this is not an ideal way to start round 3, but you know, it was a flash knockdown. There's right now I'm feeling pretty confident. There's not too much to worry about. I know that my opponent's stamina isn't in a good position, and neither is his head health. So again, just being calm, being very selective with my strikes, and when he comes in, I'm trying to throw that straight down the middle to intercept the elbow. But like I said, it's extremely dangerous. If I do it at the wrong time, I can get caught, and then I'll be in a lot of trouble, because once he catches me with that elbow, the likelihood is I am going to go down, and that's not something that I want to happen right now, because we're fighting a good fight. So I'm just waiting here. As you can see, I'm backing away. He's doing a better job this round of pressing the action. As you can see, he's trying to really break down my block. There's the movement to just sort of slip away for a moment there, and he's doing a good job of controlling the centre of the octagon. And I'm trying to intercept that elbow now with my hook, and hoping that the hook lands first and ends up putting Tony on his knocking Tony down. That's the sort of game plan right now, because he's being really aggressive. He probably, I can't really remember what happened in the first. I'm not sure if he got a knockdown. I know he got 2 stuns, so the first was probably his. The second round was definitely mine, and as it stands, the third will probably be his as well, just because of that knockdown. And early in the fight, this round, obviously I went for that takedown just to sort of mitigate that pressure, give my opponent something else to think about, just a little level change. He's going for the submission here, but I'm more than comfortable in getting out of that. And with a minute remaining, I know he can go for another submission. So I quickly posture up, and I get into half guard here, and I'm just going to look to work on the ground, just look to deny transitions and make my opponent even more tired. But he does a good job of reversing me here. And with 32 seconds to work with, I'm not too worried about what my opponent can do right now. I'm sort of focused on just, you know, mitigating the damage I'm taking. Good little sway there, we end up on top, and this is exactly where I want to finish the round. Yes, this round's probably not going to be mine because of the knockdown, but at least we finished on top and done some good amount of damage. So coming into the fourth, I know that my opponent's probably winning 2-1 in terms of rounds if this is going to decision, so I really need a big round coming into this round here. I know that his head health isn't in the greatest position and his leg health isn't either. We have worked the body, and as you can see, he's had to switch stance straight away because I went through his leg just to remind him that, you know, I know that leg's really hurt. And he's on the aggressive again, as you can see, really throwing the elbow combination, and the hook did catch him, the front kick catches him there. Being very patient with my combinations, the hook catches him again as he goes for the elbow, and we managed to get the finish here. So I thought that gameplay would be quite useful in showing you how I dealt with elbow spamming, like sort of cheesy Tony Ferguson player. But getting into the next gameplay clip we have here is against Rafael Dos Anjos, and he is one of my favourite fighters to use on the game, especially at lightweight. I do use him occasionally at welterweight, but he's definitely one of my favourites, especially if you're a big leg kicker like me and you like working in your ground game. He's sort of the perfect fighter to do that with. And earlier in the video when I said I've got to be careful with the switch stance, because if I have to switch stance, obviously it's only an 80 for Volkanovski at lightweight. This is where the real problem comes into it when you're coming up against a leg kicker. So this is going to be a very leg kick heavy battle right now between me and my opponent, and it's sort of gonna, the fight's going to be decided. It's going to be decided by who quits first, basically, whose legs are so bad to the point where you can't throw any more leg kicks. I feel that RDA's obviously got the slight power advantage, so I've got to be careful going into certain exchanges. And predominantly I was looking to keep this fight on the feet, just because I felt that that's where I sort of have more of an advantage against my opponent right now. Of course, he hasn't shown me how good his ground game is, but with RDA you really can't look to mess around on the ground, because with those submissions and the reversals, it's a very dangerous game that you're going to be playing here. And of course RDA has the slight, I believe he has the slight reach advantage. It definitely looks like it right now, so I'm being a bit cautious with how I step into range. But predominantly I'm going to look to really attack my opponent's legs, because once I sort of take that weapon away from my opponent, the fight's going to be a lot easier. And you will find that this is what will happen when you're using a Volkanovski at lightweight. You are going to come up against big kickers. You've just got to be extremely patient and look not to take too much damage, just because that switch stance is a 5-round fight, so I've got to manage my stamina. And that's one thing I remember doing quite well in this fight here. And as you can see, the fight's fairly 50-50 at the moment. We're both landing good leg kicks here and there, checking some every now and then. My opponent's doing the same back to me. So right now it's just about being patient. I'm waiting to get a reaction out of my opponent. I'm trying to feint here and there, and I'm trying to mix in my attacks. I want to try to work the body as well, just because I know how good RDA's stamina is. And in a 5-round fight, you want to work your opponent's stamina as quick as possible, so when it gets to the later rounds they don't have the stamina to recover off those big shots. But as you can see, my opponent's being more of the aggressor right now. I'm only pressing every now and then. My opponent's sort of controlled in the centre of the octagon. I'm moving away, trying to keep a kick in range so I can sneak in my leg attacks. And as you can see, what I did there was I started, so I threw the 1-2. My opponent instantly expected the kick, which I didn't throw, and then because I didn't throw it straight away, gave it one second, then I threw it. My opponent didn't check it. So that's a good tip there, is that don't throw straight away. So if you throw the 1-2, don't just throw the leg kick. Sort of stagger how you're going to do it and mix it up, and it's hard for your opponent to get the timing down, and that worked really well there. So I know my opponent's legs right now are pretty beat up, and it's just something that I've got to keep building towards. This is going to set the foundation for how I will eventually hopefully win this fight. And the leg kicks are going to be a big thing, and coming up against someone that's also a big leg kicker is just a battle of checking the leg kicks. And as you can see, coming into this round here, my stamina's in a perfect position. This is exactly where you want it to be. I know my opponent's stamina is going to be quite high also, but it's definitely not as high as mine right now. And I know that I managed to do more damage to my opponent's legs, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Both went for a leg kick at the same time there. The only thing that I've got to worry about is the slight power difference I can feel when we're exchanging. Front kick lands there, and then my opponent goes for it as well. And right now, as you can see, I'm just being patient, and this is exactly what you've got to do. I'm the smaller fighter, I will get pressed a lot. My opponent's trying to sneak in these knees now, and he's throwing in uppercuts every now and then. But I am getting the better of these exchanges, like I said. As you can see, he's stopped really throwing those leg kicks, and as we get the check there, and the reason he stopped is obviously because I've started to pick up on the timing, fake the jab there and then through the leg kick, and I'm feeling really confident. I'm growing in confidence in this fight now, and as I say that, of course, I get rocked, but now it's just about being calm. He's working my body there, which is the smart thing to do because I want to be blocking high. Good use of footwork there to avoid some extra strikes, and now he's going to really try to press me because he's going to see if I'm going to break under the pressure. But like I said, I'm just going to look to remain calm, and I'm trying to work out a pattern here. I'm starting to dodge some of these strikes, and in a fight I normally build in confidence throughout the rounds. So from round 1 will probably be my worst round, and then round 2 I'll get slightly better, and then 3, 4, 5 I really sort of pick up the pace. And right now, like I was saying with the power difference, every time RDA is landing now, it's really affecting me. Whereas if I land clean on him at the moment, he isn't doing too much damage. So right now I'm just staying out of the range. It's when we're in the boxing range, it's getting the better of me now. As you can see, I'm working the leg kicks in now again. Good head movement, and once my head movement and footwork starts to pick up throughout the fight gets a lot easier because my opponent's starting to miss, which taxes his stamina, and starts to get frustrated as well. So really tries to throw to get me out of there. And then there's that spinning back fist, which I've got to be careful of because that strike is ridiculous. If that lands often or not, your opponent will get a stun. I've even been knocked out by it so many times when I'm dominating a fight. But my lead leg, it's not in the greatest position. You see, I haven't checked the last 2 leg kicks, so he's really starting to throw them, and I'm moving my body. He throws it again, which is smart. When you see your opponent move their body, or move their head, sorry, if you go for the leg, it's going to be a lot harder for them to deny. Beautiful head movement there, and then now I'm trying to work in the body also, because as you can see, he's starting to throw and miss a lot. Went for the leg kick there, which he checked. I had to switch stance just because I don't want to take any more damage to that leg in this round. But although we did get stunned twice, and I believe my opponent also got the leg health event, I wasn't feeling too much pressure. Yes, I know I'm hurt, and my opponent definitely has the power advantage. My lead leg isn't in the best position, but my opponent's legs aren't in the best position either. In terms of head health, I'm not sure how my opponent's doing, because when I am landing, I'm not getting too much of a reaction. It doesn't seem like my power is really transferring, but I'm whittling away, slowly but surely, whittling, and it is a marathon. There is rounds to work with, so I'm not in a dire need of a knockout. So I'm just hoping that all the work I am doing will come to fruition in the later rounds, and hopefully I start to pick up on these stuns and knockdowns, because as it stands, my opponent, whenever he throws, it seems like he can easily get a stun if he throws a 3-piece combination. And I'm really trying to work in the head movement. He ripped me to the body there well, so I gave him 2 lead hooks to the body and then a knee for his troubles. And it's the uppercut that's really breaking through my blocks, so I'm trying not to get caught by it. Again, trying to be quite calm, and I need to work mixing the leg attacks, and I go to throw a front kick there. Terrible time, and he catches me well, and then he rips me to the body. And even though every time he's hurt me, he's ripped to the body, and it does quite a lot of damage. Whenever the round resets, you can see that my stamina is still always at quite a good level. Even now, where I've been getting stunned and I've been getting hit to the body, it's at a decent level, and that just, you know, sings praises to how good Volkanovski's health stats are. I mean, he can really take damage, and in a 5-round fight, when you're fighting elite guys, you're always going to take damage. So it's important to have a fighter that can withhold that damage. As you can see, we get the stun there, ripped to the body, and that combination there was really good. I knew my opponent was going to sway away, and this is one thing, like a tip I'd give if you're very into leg kicks, is that when you trap your opponent against the cage and they're hurt, they're always going to try to sway one way. So just throw that leg kick, and if it hits, you will get the stun. And right now, as you can see, the combinations are flowing. The confidence is sort of coming back to me now, even though we've been hurt. And this is where I was saying that Volkanovski's health stats are really good, because even though I have been hurt throughout the fight, as you can see, we're doing our own damage now and sort of fighting on a leveler playing field. I'm waiting for my opponent to maybe shoot a takedown, because I saw he went for that clinch attempt there, and where my back is against the cage, it'd be quite easy for him to clinch, move me towards the cage, and then look to do some damage. And I think it's in this fight here that my opponent actually clinches and keeps pushing me towards the cage just to reset my stance. Yeah, I believe he starts to do that shortly. As you see, spinning me around there, and then I end up getting into the center of the octagon, controlling the distance. Beautiful head movement there, and now my opponent's starting to miss a lot of punches, as he was in round 2. Towards the end, he started missing quite a bit of punches, even though he had the better of me that round. Started to pick up on some of that timing and was making my opponent miss, and that's a crucial aspect. Is once they start missing and getting frustrated, they're just going to wear away their stamina. So that's the stats for that round. Coming into round 4, my stamina should be in a decent position still. As you can see, my head health's in a okay position. Body health's fantastic actually, which is something that's rare. Normally I get work to the body quite a lot. He shoots for a takedown straight away, and this was a very big sign, is that he shot instantly. And this is the championship rounds, so this in my head, I knew that my opponent's stamina must not be in a good position, or he's not feeling confident with how the stand-up was going in round 3. And that's boosted my confidence massively. You see that 4-piece combination there that started with a leg kick and finished with a leg kick. And you've got to pick up on these telltale signs. So I saw that he went for the takedown, and that's just because he either wanted to coast that round, just lay on top of me and get control time, so the judges give him the round. And as you can see, he's going for the takedown again, but distance management means he can't even get close to me. Or that he's just not feeling confident on the stand-up, and as you can see, we are starting to get the better of these stand-up exchanges now. The legs are really hurting from my opponent, and this is where I was saying that my opponent's a big leg kicker, so it's important I win the leg kick battle. And as it stands at the moment, I am winning the leg kick battle. My legs are in a better position. Both his legs are pretty dusted, and my opponent's just holding block now. As you can see, stamina's not there. We're getting out of range. I went for a nice head kick there, but he predicted it, which was good for my opponent, because I haven't even been throwing head kicks, so I didn't expect him to get that. But just credit to my opponent, shows that he's quite a high level player. And as you see, he gets the takedown here. Now it's about being calm. I know I have the stamina advantage, so it should be quite easy to get a reversal if need be. I'm sort of waiting to see what my opponent's going to do. He tries to go to top mount there. Now I assume he was going to throw some ground and pound and then look for an armbar finish when I had no stamina. Or he was with the ground and pound, was really looking to wear away at my block. But I'm more than content with being on the ground here temporarily, because I know that when it does get back to the feet, I'm at such a big advantage. And this was the only danger here, is that as you could see, my block was completely broken and my opponent was just teeing off on me. And it's a very easy way for him to finish the fight if the fight stayed there. So getting him into full guard here was extremely important. It doesn't matter how confident you are off your back. If your opponent postures up and you have low head health, as you can see mine's flashing here, he can really get me out of there quickly. So it's something that I need to be wary of. He still has time on the clock to work with. As you see, he postures up again here, and fortunately enough we slipped that straight, and then now we're on top. And this is perfect for me, because now I can see out the rest of the round here. He doesn't have enough time to get a submission finish. We opt to do some ground and pound ourselves, but he blocked the second strike, the second hook there, so he done a good job there of mitigating the damage. And for the rest of this round, I'm just sort of going to try to lay here and, you know, just rack up some control time, do a little bit of damage, because I know his head health isn't in a great position either. We get up here, and yeah, so coming into round 5, I'm getting, I think I'm up on the scorecard, so I can coast this round if need be. I can shoot for a takedown, but I'm really looking to finish the fight, if I'm honest with you. I want to get my opponent out of there, and as you can see, he's coming out a lot more aggressive here. I'm using head movement to try to slip and get away from some of these punches. Go back to the leg kicks, which drop my opponent here. And again, I'm just being patient, because my head health, although it isn't flashing right now, when he hits me it hurts, and he's breaking through my block real quick, just like a hot knife through butter. So just got to be careful. I'm mixing up these attacks. As you can see, I'm not really trying to go to ground with him, just because the feet's working so well. I'm being cautious. Beautiful elbow there, drops him. And at the moment, my opponent's all just surviving. I opt to get up because, like I said, I'm not trying to get caught in a submission, even though I trust my ground game. And these leg kicks, this is where I said it's the battle of leg kicks, because I've absolutely melted his legs now. The slightest of touches really hurts him. The head movement is doing a great job. and this is where all the works in the prior rounds are built up. So all the leg kicks, all the slipping punches, all that work to the body, and my opponent just didn't work me enough to the body. And because I've got good stamina, because Volkanovski has good stamina, it's the end of the fight and I can push more than he can right now. And as you can see, he's breaking through my block, he's really trying to get this finish, but he just doesn't have that stamina there to have the power to really hurt me. We get another knockdown here, and you can tell that the fight's slipping away from my opponent. Like I said, I'm probably winning the fight on the scorecards, and right now I'm just doing a lot of damage this round. It could easily be a 10-8 with all the stuns we're getting and knockdowns. So the fight should be over fairly shortly, and the game plans worked very well. We used leg kicks, of course, to take out a leg kicker. Beautiful duck there, because I knew the head kick was coming, and we got the finish. So I hope this showcase provided some value to see how good Volkanovski is at lightweight. Obviously, we had the Tony Ferguson fight and then the RDA, 2 longer fights. Hope you enjoyed the longer video. The fight stats are coming up on the scorecards to see how the judges scored it. The next video will be a Derek Lewis fighter showcase, so look forward to seeing that. It was subscriber requested. Thank you for all the likes, comments and support. I'll catch you on the next video.